since Tuesday, you are still welcome. And for those that are joining us for the very first time today, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. For those that are watching the recording, once again, thank you as well. Please, if you do have any questions, please ensure that you send us an email and then I'll certainly attend to them. I am going to send our email address on the Q&A session on that box there. So if you do have any questions during the course of the session, feel free to ask or raise your hand. Otherwise, I see that most of you, your cameras and your microphones have been disabled, but as soon as you raise your hand, I will ensure that I will enable it. Otherwise, I'll give over to Dr. Gous, and then we'll continue admitting people as they come.
Excellent idea. Just trying to open my document here.
Right.
Are we recording?
100%, yes.
Okay. Here we go. All right, so welcome everybody. This is the 4th session already. And so when Tumelo and I started out in, it was only 2 days ago, we said you have to just be patient with us and we will get you through the 4 units. And here we are at unit 4 already. It's gone very quickly though, I must admit, but it's been a lot of fun. We've had some really good questions so far as well. And so let's see what we can do and wrap it up. Thanks to Melo for the introduction. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, so when we started out, we said the robot needs to be built. So there's a form, and the robot needs to be doing something. So that's function. So the form and the function are kind of the 2 axes of what your learning is, and everything in between is then your problem-solving skills, which you're going to develop, and you're also going to develop those of your learners that are going to be in your robotics teams. Okay, so we did the basic chassis, so that's the basic structure of a wheeled robot. Now there's lots of other robots that you can use, and we'll show you just now on the Spike Prime app. There are certainly lots of examples of robots that can be built just using the motor, so without sensors. We haven't started sensors yet. We haven't started power attachment. So there's still several examples that you can use in your teaching. Okay. And then the 3rd session was the navigation, where the robot's got to go somewhere. It's got to go here and there and round the corner kind of thing. And so that we programmed that. And hopefully you spent last night practicing dragging and dropping your code and seeing, well, hopefully if you don't have a robot, we will be able to say whether it's going to work or not. But if you do have a robot, you could have tested it. And so what we come through to today is the adding of passive attachments. So you've got your basic little robot, and now you want to push a slab of chocolate. All right. Do we have a little baby robot here?
I was about to share.
Oh, you were? Okay. All right. So Tumelo's got a video to show you, but basically you've got this little robot, and you want to gather a slab of chocolate. You're not going to be able to, because the slab of chocolate's going to go under the robot. All right. The same as if you've got a whole lot of marbles, and you're not going to be able to push this with the marbles because it's going to go under the robot. So if you just add a bumper here, you can push the marbles. If you have a bumper with arms on the side, you can push them and kind of contain them, like herding marbles, which is actually a lot of fun. But what we're doing today is we're saying, so this is your robot, and now we're going to add passive attachment. So a bumper, and the bumper is flat, and then you can go plow, or you divide something, or a gatherer. So it's just the other version of a bumper. All right. And the other passive attachments you have is the hook. So if you want to hook something, anything with something that you can just hook up, or if you've got a carabiner, I'll show you an example of that. And then there's trigger on pivot points. So it's an application, and there are a whole plethora of examples on that. And we're busy looking for examples to share with you as well, whether you're teaching grades 1, 2, and 3 and using the Spike Essential or the WeDo, or whether you're teaching grade 4 upwards and you're using Spike Prime or the EV3, and hopefully somebody's still got an NXT out there. But so we're trying to find examples. That said, the list we're going to put up on the M1 portal is not going to be absolute. It's just going to be some examples. And if you find an example that really works to strengthen or enhance your teaching, we're going to ask you to share it with us. That'll be really awesome. Same as there are lesson plans and there are activities that you can use. If you have something to share with us, if you have a different idea, we'd like to hear from you. All right. So Tumelo has got a video. Tumelo, you want to share the video first? All right. So Tumelo's going to share a video. So sit back and relax, enjoy the video, and then I'll go into my presentation about passive attachments. All right, Tumelo, over to you. You're going to go on? There you go. Yes, I can see the video. Yes.
All right. So passive attachment doesn't require any form of power or any form of programming. It's a matter of you ensuring that you put an attachment of any of sort, depending on the functionality of what you want to complete. So you can see with this one here, it's widely open. The task here was to ensure that they remove bottle lids in the ocean, which is part of the environmental sciences and robotics challenge. So you see here is a video that bananas managed to put all the bottle lids.
Excellent. You want to run it again? Oh, this is so cool.
There's another one here. You see that somehow didn't do well. There are different types of attachments. You see this one. This was a bit better and it was faster.
You're going to share your screen?
Ooh.
No, no, we can't see anything.
You see my screen. There we go. This one here, the different attachment or passive attachment, you see it's a bit smaller.
Yay!
And then for others, you see that the challenge that they experience was with how you program the robot, because it seems like you or they were required to do it a bit faster. So share this part here. So these are different types of attachments that we can include as part of your passive attachment, depending on the goal that you want to achieve.
The robot's not moving.
It's not moving. Right. I think it might be due to your left, but it will show.
Is it not showing on yours?
It is.
Oh dear.
It's not right. This is from, can you see on your side? Please confirm whether the video is playing.
Partially playing.
Partially. Okay. Thank you. No. Ach, toch.
All right.
The robot's not moving.
I think it's due to network.
Okay.
So it's not showing, but at least you managed to get rid of it.
Cool.
Cool. Let's see this one.
Oh,
Unfortunately, the network is not on our side today.
but maybe you've got a link to those.
Certainly she has.
Okay, we'll share the links then with you. All right. Thank you, Jamila, for that. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Maybe if I share it properly. Okay. All right, is my screen visible? There we go. Yes,
Yes.
from the beginning. All right. So what we've got now is the passive attachments, and we've included this in the EDP, which is the engineering design process. So whenever you have to build an attachment, it's not just putting a whole lot of pieces together and hoping for the best. You actually need to first consider the design process. So what is it you have to do? What is the function you have to achieve? What do you want to do? All right. So the first thing is the engineering design process, and we're going to use that in the application of designing attachments. And for now, we're only going to use passive attachments. So there's no motors included. And then I'm going to introduce some resources we have for the designing and building of attachments. Okay, so let's consider the engineering design process. There's always a number of steps in the engineering design process. Okay. But there's two parts to it. There's always the building. So what do you need to build? And then linked to that, what do you need to program to make sure that your build or your structure is effective? And what Tamela was showing you there now, you had to clear the ocean. You would get more bottle lids out the ocean if you had a wider arm, okay? And then, of course, it has to be rigid, so it has to actually keep pushing it. It wouldn't help if you just had a single beam on the bottom, because then the lids would kind of spill over the beams. Okay, so those are the two, the building and the programming. But there are constraints. There's always constraints, okay? I mean, the arm cannot be wider than what that robotics table was wide, because otherwise it's going to hit the sides, okay? What are the risks? The risks are it's too long, it's too short, it's too high, it's too low. If it's too low, it drags on the ground. So then you've got the complication of friction, because you won't be able to use your attachment. All right. So there's always a goal when you're designing something, and some learners like to draw things and to design. Some learners like to explain it. Some learners like to build a prototype, but whatever it is. So there's always a goal and says, what is the problem? What do you have to do? I have found in the past also the hands are a very good way of kind of trying to explain what we have to do. Okay. And then we start imagining what are some of the solutions? What could we possibly build? And then obviously within the team, they're going to choose the best design. And then they're going to start planning. So draw a diagram, make a list of materials that you need. The planning, usually they like to skip the planning a little bit and then follow the plan to create something. They like to start creating. And then you've got to obviously test it. Does it work? It doesn't matter how cool it is. If it doesn't work, it's not no use to you. All right. And then once you've created it and you've seen how it works, okay, so why does it not work? And what can you do better? And how can you modify the design? And there's always testing. There's always testing. All right. So when you apply your engineering design process, and I think this is also one of those good habits you want to develop, you need to start with the learners, like this is how we do it. All right. So this is how we design it. So you can, for the designing of attachments and robots too, obviously, you need to have some idea of what you want to achieve. Okay. And there's not just a number, there's a gazillion examples of attachments. And I unfortunately forgot the box of attachments at home in my rush this morning to get going. Okay. So I will show you them on a later stage, but there are, when you see the examples, 10. When you see the examples that I'm going to show you now as pictures, and I need to just give kudos to Casper. Casper was one of our students here. He's gone and got a full-time job. Can you imagine? So he created for us a whole lot of really cool diagrams of pictures and images that we need. And so everything you see in green is Casper's designs. And we have them all on and I'll show you that later, on Bricklink Studio, which is a software that you can use to design. Okay. Now, when you're trying to upgrade from the little baby robot to a robot with attachments, you've always got to consider, what do you want to do? And what do you want to do is the verb. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to push something? Are you going to pull something? Are you going to collect something, deliver something, drop something, lift something, fetch something? So the verb is important. Okay. And later on, when we look at M3, when we develop the strategy, you'll be encouraged to look at the verbs. And so we'll develop a spreadsheet, well, not a spreadsheet, just a table, and say, what is the verb? What do you have to do? What attachment do you need? And what programming you need? Okay, so that's why it's in green. It's like important stuff. Okay, so we're going to do passive attachments, and powered attachments are coming in March, I promise. Okay, so this is one of the examples. We've got what we call a trigger attachment, and we're dropping something. All right, we're going to drop the yellow ball into the yellow bucket. All right, so if you just look at this, you already know some of the constraints. All right, that over here, you've got a little trigger mechanism on a pivot. Okay, it has to be above the height of the bucket. Otherwise, the ball is not going to tip into the bucket. That's number one. Number two, it's got to be big enough to hold the ball. All right. Number three, this thing over here, this trigger, has obviously got to be able to hit the side of the bucket. If you've got it too high, it's going to miss it. If you've got it too low, the ball's not going to go in. You know, it's like too high, too low, just right. And that comes in with testing. Okay, so you've got to move the robot forward, and then this little pivot, it tips the ball in. Okay, I'll show you a picture. So go forward, and that trigger will hit the side of the bucket, and then the ball will fall in. Okay, one of the other constraints is, of course, if you go too fast, the ball will hop out. And so that's one of those things. Okay, let's go for this example. So this is it's actually a bumper with sides, all right? And it's going to go forward. So if you attach this to your front of your robot and you go forward, yay, we're gathering something. So we can either deliver something or push something somewhere, or, so like that, if we just go forward and push it, or if we go forward and then we collect it, and then we turn around, then we can bring it back. Okay, so that's collecting your items. All right. We can add a gate to the front of the robot, so you can't lose your stuff. And I need to just acknowledge that there's an error on the next picture. Oh, not this one. I'll show you just now. All right. So this one is a carabiner where you can bump it onto a loop, and then that becomes it's like the carabiners you use when you climb a mountain. All of us that have climbed mountains lately. And then we have a fork so that you can pick it up, and then we have a bumper. All right, this is the pivot point. This is the design for the pivot point, again with the pivot underneath hitting the side, and then it'll tip over. This is a gate, but I need to acknowledge that the gate lock is on the wrong side. The gate lock must be on the other side. So the gate can open inwards, but it can't go out. So I've just noticed that there. So that's the wrong side. All right, there's a hook. So a hook is easy to pick something up. It becomes very tricky if you have multiple things to hook. And then you have to weigh up, are you going to hook one thing or are you going to hook up multiple things? Okay. A delivery box, which is good for herding ping pong balls. You put them into the box. All right. Ping pong balls have the terrible habit of running around and getting lost everywhere. And herding ping pong balls is an art form, I think. All right. So there's again your bumper, or your plow, or your gatherer, whatever you want to call it. And all right. So let's just pause here a minute. So the first question I always get is, so where's the building instructions? Well, there are building instructions, and I'll show you where the building instructions are. Okay. And it's good to follow building instructions because it's clear, the learners know what to do, they can just build it, it's fast and straightforward, but it's not their design. All right. And it might not be 100% as needed for the task. So maybe you need to adapt the design. All right. But it is a good example of applying your knowledge and expanding your knowledge. Okay. So this is about creating a framework of reference. Okay. So you get learners to understand what they're doing, Even if you build it twice and 3 times over, and you time them how long it takes. So if you're busy building mental models. All right. Moving over is the exploration. Now, the exploration is where you do brainstorming and you design something. So that's great. Fosters a lot of creativity very quickly. But you must remember that maybe it's intimidating. And so learners might be totally paralyzed because they don't know what to do. And so often you'll give the students or the learners a task, and one group will go on and build it, and the other group will just sit there and say, we don't know how to do it. And so in the spirit of having creative, we want creative building initiatives and experiences. That's not going to be a positive one. Okay. But exploration does create ownership, definitely. It's time consuming. So I would like to also ask you never to rush a robotics class. Please don't rush it. I think for myself, an hour and a half is kind of ideal. So we used to start at 3 o'clock. No, 2 o'clock. We started at 2 o'clock. Give about 15 minutes for introductions and what we're going to do and explain to them then we have a whole hour to do what we have to do. And often we would have a cooler box with some snacks in there or something. It's a Friday afternoon. And then for the last half hour, there would be, you have to pack up. You have to explain to me what you did. And you have to be able to kind of present something as a team. And I think I mentioned it earlier. If you're not going to have a close-off session at the end of every session, you're going to sit with a whole lot of robots and laptops that have not been shut down, and you're going to be the one that has to pack up. And so that's not good. But just keep in the back of your mind that designing things is time-consuming. All right. There's always the danger that they reinvent the wheel, but I honestly say it's very, very seldom. Everybody's got their own level of creativity of what they want to do. Okay, so that's the explanation part. Start with the explanation, then you move on to exploration. All right. So in your overview document, there are 4 units of learning material, and each folder has got a unit. And so you have to build a bumper, you have to build a delivery box, you have to build a motion trigger, you have to build a box trap, you have to build a sweep, you have to build a hook, and you have to build a carabiner. Now, I understand that maybe you don't have time to do all of this. So maybe a good idea would be get one team to do the bumper and one to do, say, the motion trap, and the other one to trigger, and the other one maybe to do the sweep. But let them at least build one passive attachment so they understand how it clicks onto the robot as well. Okay. And then you've obviously got a program with it. So how do you push something with a bumper? Well, obviously it's easier to push an empty water bottle than it is to push a full tin of condensed milk, right? It's easier to, you okay?
Yes,
So unplug it here for you.
it is unplugged.
Oh, it's unplugged. All right. And it's easier to hook with a multiple pronged hook than it is to hook with a single hook. That's always difficult. All right. So get them to build the thing, attach it to the robot, and then actually do something. So when you join it, when you have these activities, so you push at the bumper, the program requires additional power depending on the weight of the item. And one really fun thing that you can do is if you make an inclined plane, so get a nice cardboard box and get them to push something up, especially a water bottle. Push the water bottle up to the top, and then you'll find that it just falls over the other side. But so this is all part of the learning. Have a delivery box, so that the items don't touch the wheels, and then with a motion trigger to dump it, and have something different height. So you have a low container, like a margarine container, a yogurt container, and then I don't know, a tall whatever, cut off water bottle or milk bottle. It really is important that they understand how do you, all right? So whether you hook with a carabiner or you hook with a hook, obviously you must attach it very slowly, but that's things that they're going to learn as they go along, all right? All right, so when you design passive attachments, and this is from my experience, learners will start getting something, and then they will get on a roll, and then they'll start designing the most amazing attachments. All right. So we used to use Lego Digital Designer. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can also download Bricklink Studio. Okay. And if you go into Bricklink Studio, and Tamela, I'm thinking we need to do that series on resources as well. If you go into Bricklink Studio, you can also add kind of virtual boxes of Lego. So you can add the Spike Prime and the Spike Prime expansion and the Spike Essential boxes. So you can add all those boxes. You have access to all those pieces. All right. And then you can download and use the designs from the internet, which is fine. That's fine. Okay. But there's a flip side of that. And especially with the more experienced teams, this is what I found. The learners start designing their own attachments. Okay. And I need somehow to preserve it. I can't keep all the pieces as an attachment, but I need to keep the design. Okay. So what we used to do is we then reverse engineered the attachments on Bricklink Studio. So we still have the building instructions. The pieces have been disassembled already, but at least we have some recollection. There's a really cool where they, for one WRO, you have to attach it and take it up and over you. And that whole mechanism they got right. And so we put that onto Bricklink Studio. Okay, so to kind of keep the design. Okay, so I'm the last to admit that I don't design my own attachments. I'm not designing them. I referred lots to the book on passive attachments called Winning Design. Now I know the Winning Design for the EB3 is a PDF that's available online. I'm hoping that they bring out a Winning Design for Spike Prime, but they haven't yet, and it's been 2 years, so I can't blame COVID anymore. But this is a really good book to read. It reads well. So instead of reading some fiction, read a robotics book. Yeah, get a better idea of kind of how it works. All right. There's another book, and I was also going to bring that with along, but I will show you, especially in the March sessions. This guy did a whole lot of powered attachments. Okay, so these are all attachments that you have a motor. You can see there's a motor there. But really good designs for the learners to understand how things fit together. I always said I think I need to buy a book and just put it as laminated worksheet form. So maybe I must do that. Maybe this is the time I must start doing that. All right. So back to passive attachments. Remember, there's no additional power. There's never power for a passive attachment. There's always a verb: push, pull, sweep, drop, or collect the items. And it must be easy to pin, but meaning it must be easy to put onto your robot or onto your chassis and then to take it off as well. Okay. And then examples, we did the bumper, the plow, the container, the hook. All right. All right. So where do you get help? Well, trust me, this community is so sharing that there's a whole lot of building instructions. Okay. So on the EV3 lessons, you'll find something on passive attachments. When you're doing robotics competitions, there's a passive attachment. And I thought there was a third one. Oh, okay. But what you can also do is to show maybe one of these videos and say, ask your learners to identify the passive attachment. Where do you see the passive attachment? Okay, and then if you look through the video, then the learners will already be able to identify where's the passive attachment and how it is used and what it is used for and how do you remove it and how do you put it back. Okay. All right, so these are all our passive attachments. There's your trigger, there's the box, there's the carabiner, there's various levels of forks, there's your plow, there's a straight bumper. You'll see there's pens on here, so usually it'll just pin in over here into these holes over here. All right. All right, so when Tamela and I will then launch M1 on the new MOOC portal tomorrow, every unit has objectives. These were the Unit 4 objectives. I really think you should actually attempt at least one activity. All right, build and program at least one activity. And then, of course, there's an MCQ that you need to finish. And that's the end of M1. Okay, so then the question is, okay, so what now? You will need to access the assessment guide document, which is on the MOOC portal. And you'll notice that there are 4 opportunities to submit your portfolio. Okay, the portfolio comes with a template. So you've got to read the M1 challenge, see what it's about, And then there's a place where you need to include a URL of a challenge recording. And then you submit only the completed template. All right. But notice that there's a deadline. So the one that's going to be available the last week of February closes 7 days later. All right. And then that's February, March. And then you have to wait till April. And then the last week of April, I'll give you the challenge. You've got a week to solve it. And then you submit it. Okay. So there's 4 such opportunities. Okay. And I'm really appealing to you, do not resubmit your friend's challenge because it's going to be zeroed. Right. And so that's the end of passive attachments. I'm going to stop sharing and okay, so Tumelo's found the videos. Tumelo, you're going to play them now. Excellent. All right, over to you, Tumelo. Here we go. Yes. Yes, there we go. Wow. There we go. Okay. Yes, it's playing. You can see all the lovely fish that the poor robot is going to fish out. Hopefully the fish will be returned to the ocean. There we go. That looks much more impressive. Look at all those pieces it can collect out the sea. All different attachments. Sure, and there's a whole ocean. That's just pushing it. Sure, these students are very loud. Okay, this is a bit wider. Look how clean that ocean is. Sure. Everybody shouts. Oh, this is a different robot. Okay, it looks like it's very jagged. It's not working. Have you got another? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, we can see.
It's that team that won.
Brilliant. You make it a bit bigger. Okay. I think you're going to have to share the link. It's like a serious attachment there. No, it's not plain, Tumelo. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have questions, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, there are some few questions on the on the chat. I see Mrs. Fanta here. She was saying your voice is very soft. Please add sugar. And then the first question from Mrs. Fanta: move around the container in a circle. My spike robot either moves in a spin or charge forward. And then the other question says, the added move functions are now limited extensively. Only 3 additional movement functions. So functionality used previously seems to be no longer available in the spike.
Okay, I don't understand that question.
Any way to get the prior functions? I'm sure she will elaborate on this one. Yes, let me give you the platform, Mrs. Fanta.
Previously in the Spike Essential, if you asked, in the Spike Prime, you could have added in more movement functionality. Now, if you click more movement, there's only 3 additional options added. So a lot of the functionalities Tumelo showed yesterday as part of the programming is not available to the Spike anymore.
Yeah. Sure.
So you were saying that the one that I did yesterday is not available on the Spark Prime?
Not all the features, no.
With your permission, Dr. Host, can I perhaps share my screen of the Spike app so that the participants can have a clear understanding?
Okay.
So this is the app. You can see it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no, I was just double checking. All right. Web blocks.
Are you on?
Yes. Or perhaps can I just explain more about the Spike app as well, since I'm here? Yeah. So remember on Tuesday when we encouraged you to go and download the app or perhaps use it online. So as soon as you have done downloading it and your PC or your tablet meets the requirements, you will simply come here on the new project. The nice thing is that it has 3 functions: icon blocks, web blocks, as well as the Python function. So for the purposes of this, I'll stick to the web blocks. So once I click on create, this is it. So the one that Mrs. Fenter was talking about, so what I did was to set my movement motors and then set my speed. Then I say move forward for... Oh, the nice thing about the Spike app is that it has the rotations, degrees, seconds, centimeters, and inches. Remember when Dr. Hoos was talking about it, Chester? All right. And then let's see that part that Mrs. Fenter was talking about, saying that the robot wouldn't be able to turn. Is this the one, Mrs. Fenter?
Yes, there is. So I tried the blue and the blue didn't want to work. So I went back to the pink options.
Oh, okay. So you mean when you have tried to insert this one for the motors, it did not work?
No, I ended up turning with the pink, but then it turns in a circle, in 1 point only. I can't move in a circular fashion around a bottle or a container.
Can I perhaps ask that you join the Friday session so that I try this and verify whether is this correct or not?
Of the code.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right,
Just to
thank you.
explain the second part of my question, if you go to the additional functionalities bottom left underneath variables, yes, and you choose to add in the more movements.
All right.
You will see if you move down to the bottom, there's only 3 additional functions that I've added. There used to be about 8 or 9.
Wow.
Right. I think perhaps did your Spike request you to update it perhaps?
It was already updated.
All right. Okay. But thank you so much for that. This is great that we get to share such information. Can I also request that those that are online as well, if you have any technical issues that you're experiencing, let us know and then we can try it out here. But like I said, tomorrow I'll be trying out this program and see whether this Mrs. Venter can assist us and what else we can look into.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand, ladies and gents.
I think we need to put a poll to see how many have already installed the software.
All right.
All right.
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Nothing? Oh my word. Anybody?
Feel free to unmute yourself. Or no, sorry. Feel free to raise your hand and then I'll enable your microphone.
Nobody? No questions, Tamara. Right, toch. Ah, there's Enoch.
There we go, Mr. Malule. Yeah. There you go. Over to you, Mr. Malule. Yeah?
Good day, Mr. Tumela, and also good day to you, Doctor. Hello?
Mr. Malule? Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, yes, sir.
Oh, yes. I believe you are all well, and then I believe everyone on the podium is also okay. My question is based on the attachment that the doctor was highlighting in a way, between a passive attachment and then powered attachment. In most cases, which one do you think is more accurate when you are completing? Maybe, like, I know for sure that each mission has its own like let me say attachment in a way, but then which one do you say it's more accurate than the other?
All right. So it depends on what do you want to accomplish. That's why I've been sharing those different types of passive attachments. And as Dr. Hoos was presenting on her presentation, she also did indicate that you have a gate, you have a hook, and those different types of attachments, they do have a specific function. So on your side, it will certainly depend on what type of mission perhaps, or I don't know whether I'm answering you, Mr. Maluleke.
Yes, I think you are answering me in a okay. Another a follow-up question though. When you are done with let's say the MOOCs, like let's say maybe you are done with M1, and then in terms of submission, because last year we did almost everything, and then but then I kinda missed it when by the submission part, whereby I need to upload the videos and all those stuff, the evidence that we did, and then also the portfolio that one is compiling. Is it are you using like maybe Word or a PowerPoint or something to create a something like a portfolio or something, including those videos and so on? I don't know whether I'm lost or I'm still on the right track.
Mr. Maluleka, you are lost.
Okay.
Can I kindly suggest that you join our Friday question and answer session, whereby
okay.
I'll touch more on that. But
Okay.
to answer you slightly, first things first, I'm sharing this video. The reason why I'm sharing this video, it has powered as well as passive attachments. And you can
yes.
see those group of learners. As you can see now, I've zoomed in there. They
Okay.
are including a specific type of an attachment for a specific type of a mission. So that is me answering your first question. The second
Yes.
question is, if you have, let's say, for example, enrolled for ISET Robotics M1 last year, and you
Yes.
completed unit 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you did not complete your final task, which was you sending your video or your portfolio, unfortunately, you will have to repeat the same course because this year the contents are different from the previous year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Am I answering you? And then tomorrow I'll also just give you a glimpse of what to expect on that ISET Robotics M1 2025. And I'm going to ask you that you share this information with others so that they may join the session and they create an account and be in sync with all of us.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
You're welcome, Mr. Maluleke.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, ladies and gents? Any comments? No questions, no comments? All right, Dr. Khos will be sharing something.
All right. Oh. Okay, so that was passive attachments. You would have heard a couple of times I referred to a document called the Constructopedia. And I'm going to share it on my screen quickly. I would like, it's a, I know it's for the ED3s, but it's got a lot of learning opportunities. And can you see my screen? All right, so this is the Constructopedia, and it gives you all different types of structures of how to put things together, especially when you're starting out, to understand how sturdy structures work, and how to attach motors. So there's a whole thing about how do you attach the motor. So you can attach it next to the brain. There's an option that more in front of the brain. And I think the important thing is here, let your learners build these kind of structures where we have a wide back with a motor, and then you've got to convert it into a robot. You've got to make it move like a robot. All right. And this is about adding wheels, and this is about having motors on the underside, a different type of design. Remember, we're trying to create a frame of reference, okay? And so there's lots of little activities that your learners can then use for different ways of building robots. There's not only one way of building a robot. This is also an underside robot. I'll tell you now what the difficulty of this is. The motor up the top here, you're going to have to get really big wheels if you want to keep the brain level. Just a FYI. Okay. A lot of ways of fixing robots together and putting things together. But here are good ideas. This little wheel is a better option than the ball bearing that you put at the back, because the ball bearing is like a trolley wheel that always goes haywire. It doesn't actually work. Okay, here's a clue, and we're only doing sensors in March, but here's a clue of extending the touch sensor. So this book is full of a whole lot of really cool ideas if you go through it, and how to view and how to see what the input is, your different types of gears, as an overview of all the different gears, how gears fit together and how gears work. I know I'm going quite fast, but it's a good book to download on how putting pieces together and making things work. All right. And again, I'm coming back to it. You want the learners to be able to build structures. This is a good start. The other one with the EV3, what I show you about the EV3 ideas, that's a very good one as well, to try and build different structures. And now, Mrs. Fenter, you have to help me. What is the name of? There is a guy that writes really cool contraption and structures books, and now I cannot for the life of me think what the name is. What is the guy's name? Hang on. I'm going to go look at my presentation quickly. I'll tell you now what his name is. It's Ikashushi or wait. Yeah. Okay, there we go. This guy. Maybe make it bigger. Am I sharing my screen now? Still not. Okay. Let me just share my screen. Oh, gosh. Share my screen. All right, let's try again. And from the current slide. There we go. Okay, so this guy, Yoshihito Ishigawa, he has got a number of books that you can download Mahala free, okay? And it's about a whole lot of structures. And they might not at the moment be passive attachments. You'll find some passive attachments, but I think most of them are also powered attachments. But he has got other books. He's got 3 other books. And that just comes with really cool ideas of structures. Remember, you're trying to build a frame of reference about different structures. And obviously, some of them are going to be more valuable than others. Some of them are more useful than others. But overall, it's a good collection of attachments. And then you can build them, let your learners build it, and then say, okay, so how do you attach this attachment to your chassis? All right. And obviously, it's got to be rigidly attached. Otherwise, it's going to go all over the place. All right. So there's your homework. So what we'd love to see is your robot with maybe one of his attachments attached to it. We're looking for material to inspire, really cool pictures of robots. And if you do have a picture, please send it to iset@unisa.ac.za. Tumelo will receive it and we'll collate it and we'll put it onto the M1 MOOC portal. Ideas of how to attach Yoshihito Ishigawa's attachments to a robot. All right. And you don't have to build it in all those colors. You can add some pinks and blues and yellows if you want to, put a little bit of purple in there. But let's see what kind of really cool designs. Let's keep the powered attachments for M2, but for M1, let's see what we can do. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. There we go. Okay, and here's another thing. It's easy to sit and watch. It's not, but for real learning, you have to actually do. So I'm encouraging you, after tomorrow, hopefully you'll be able to download all the documents from the M1 portal. Download them and go and see whether you can try it out. We will add documents with all kinds of extra links for you, and then you can go and start building little robots, make them move. So it's about navigation, making things move. And if you can do that, if you can get a robot to move after M1, that's mission accomplished. All right, Tumelo, I'm done. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please feel free to raise your hand or you can write on the chat. But I see here on the chat, Notando says, I just got registered. I have 0 information as in what materials should I get and where. So as Dr. Holmes, well, yes, correct. I think you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you, Notando, so that we hear what you are registered for and we take it from there. Okay, I managed to find you. Please unmute yourself, Nothando, so that we can assist you. Nothando, feel free, please. Just unmute yourself and then, yes, please unmute yourself. You don't have to raise your hand. I've enabled your microphone. All right, while Nothando is still struggling to unmute herself there, I'll ask anyone to raise their hand if they do have a specific question, or perhaps they have got a question on the chat that we didn't see, or yes. All right, I see we have a meeting guest. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Okay, hello.
Greetings.
Yeah, it's Tabo Mhlongo. I think it's the first time I'm attending this workshop.
Come again, please. Start again, please.
That's my name is Tabo.
Yes, Tibos.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm attending this.
Congratulations, Tibos.
Okay. Now, I just want to check. I'm supposed to enroll on a certain course because I think my interest is to familiarize with robotics and how it works. Because I want to use it in a certain framework that I'm developing. So am I supposed to enroll on a course, or I don't have any information regarding that?
All right. We are having massive open online courses, which are freely available. And
Okay.
we also have short learning programs, which I'll touch on them tomorrow. But because the short learning programs have closed and they'll start off next semester, but I'll still touch on them so that you get a clear understanding of the programs that we offer and the contents in the programs. That's why I just shared on the Q&A chat box the link to tomorrow's session.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Thank you.
He's a teacher.
Are you a teacher, Tabo?
Yes, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher.
Where are you based, if you may ask?
Based Soshanguve.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, Nothando, over to you. Feel free. Oh, I've enabled your microphone. Feel free. This is a different Nothando.
No, it's me, not Dan. I just sent the question.
Okay.
I think my mic was not able to open. I think it was supposed to be the settings on your side.
All right, you may proceed.
Okay. I was just asking. I think I'm just like the guy who just went off now. I registered, I think, a few days back. I'm a teacher also. I just want to know where should I start, getting the materials, because I see that you have some sort of materials that you're using for this course.
All right. The question that we had for you before we answer you, Sister Nothando, is what are you registered for?
Oh, okay. So the email that I received, it's MOOC question and answer session.
Yeah, that's taking place tomorrow.
Okay, it's Science Engagement Center, USEC. Oh, no, that's my problem. I don't understand really the name of the course, but yeah.
Yes. Okay, Teacher Nothando. So just to ease the confusion, so that Q&A link that you have and the one that I just posted now on the chat box, I'm going to kindly suggest that you join it tomorrow so that we can show you how to register on the MOOC portal, as well as the contents that are there, and so that I avoid confusion that you might experience as well.
So you have sent.
Does she want training?
Sister Notando, are you a teacher who's requesting training?
Yeah, I'm a teacher, but I'm
Okay.
not
You
sure.
want training?
And you want to be trained, correct?
Robotics.
Yes.
All right. So that's why I'm saying let's take it further tomorrow, because tomorrow it will be an engagement session.
All right, no problem.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
what we are showing you today,
It's
it's the course in M1 and the contents that are in M1 Unit 4.
Oh, okay.
Okie dokes. Thank you so much. I see there are lots of hands now.
yeah.
All right. I'll recognize meeting guest. It was Tabo. Do you still have a question, Tabo?
Yeah, just to clarify something.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the doctor there has forgotten me at some point. I'm a PhD candidate, so I'm developing a framework. So for that,
No, I've forgotten about you, Tabo. I'm right here.
Yeah.
okay, that's okay. Yeah, so I'm developing a framework. So I need more training into that. So I just wanted to check: is it a must that I must enroll, or can I just attend the workshops without enrolling on a course?
Okay, Tibos, I'm told that you can just attend.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome, Tabo.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Tabo. All right, Sister Notando, is your hand is still up? Do you still have a question? All right, I assume you
No,
don't.
no, I don't. Sorry.
All right, Tebogo, over to you.
How are you, everyone?
I'm well,
Um,
thank you.
I attended the first workshops, and you mentioned that we should look for a place where we can do the actual practical
Yes. Where are you based, Sister Tebogo?
facilities that have materials. Ne? Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, yes.
Oh yes. So now we don't have any close by, ne? So and we are quite a few at my school attending this, ne? So I was asking, is it possible to actually write an email to you guys and set an appointment for that certain day? We come as a group and you help us out.
Sister Tebogo would appreciate that email and will welcome you with open arms.
All right. So with that, when is the convenient time to do this? Because we are all new and kind of lost. So when is the convenient time to actually do practicals after maybe we have attended few sessions, or when is the convenient time to actually do the practicals there?
Can I suggest that tomorrow after I explain that session,
Okay.
the MOOC content,
We will have some
Okay.
dates.
and then that's when we'll have dates to say that we are open on this particular week or this particular Saturday, and then
Okay.
certainly
Good idea.
can send an email. Where are you
All right.
based, Sister Tebogo?
Limpopo, Beresford.
All right.
Oh, that's
Yes.
with
Or perhaps when we come that side, maybe
Yeah.
we can even make an arrangement. So it's
Oh, okay.
Alpheus is there.
there's Alpheus that side, so we can even link you with him as well. So,
Okay, I would
And the college.
appreciate
And
that.
Kelvin College. V at Kelvin College.
All right. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you an email reminding you that I'm the one who you suggested that you
Sure.
connect me with someone so that you can do the arrangements there.
Not a problem.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Last but not least is Lerato, and then from here we'll close the session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah, and I'm late. Sorry that I'm late. Apology, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so okay, it's Lerato from Riachona. So I want to know, I'm also from Limpopo, but I'm based at Lebowakgomo side. I think it's how many? 2 hours to Bakersford. I also want to, I'm asking to be linked.
All right.
Yes.
Please ensure that you are part of tomorrow's session, and then we take the conversation further, and then we share our email addresses, and then we take it from there.
Okay, thank you. What time is tomorrow? Same time?
Same time at 3 o'clock, but it's a different link. I just put in the link on the Q&A chat box. Can you see the link?
Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, link. I can see the link. Thank you so much.
Perfect, yes. Tomorrow we continue, but it will be different, whereby we'll just be answering most of the questions and just giving more clarity of where to go to, so that we don't leave anyone with a lot of question marks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for raising your hands, for writing on the chat box, and for being part of the session. For those that have been joining us since Tuesday and yesterday, as well as today, we really appreciate you. For those that are joining us today for the very first time, you are still appreciated. And for those that are watching the recording, we would also like to thank you as well. Without wasting time, I'll hand over to Dr. Hoos to close the session.
There we go. Thank you, everybody. It's been a good discussion. I see we're going to be very busy tomorrow. Why am I echoing now? Oh, okay. All right. Yes, we are. This is the training program. This is the massive open online courses that we offer on the UNISA MOOC portal. We're launching the M1 tomorrow. These live online sessions are here to engage with you and to help you along, and to make you aware that you're not alone and that there's an entire community that will get behind you. And also that we can network in areas that we are, if we have close connections, that we can connect with each other. We will explain the whole MOOC portal tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be ready. I'm hoping that we can launch it tomorrow. And yeah, so on that happy note, we will see you tomorrow in the Q&A session. And thank you for joining us. And happy robot building. Thank you, Tumelo. Thank you very much to you. And thank you to everybody who attended. And we will see you then tomorrow. Okay. Bye. Thank you.